How are you feeling today? If you're tired or reflecting on family ties, pause for a moment. Think of this as a warm cup of tea, gentle and soothing, like starting the day with a sip. Let's begin this video with peace and an open heart. Today, I'm sharing a story about faith, cultural clashes, and a child standing up for their mom. But was it wrong? Hey, listener, you're stepping into a story where faith, culture, and family collide in a way that tests love and identity. I'm Lisa, 45, a black woman raised in a devout Christian family in Mississippi, now living in Atlanta with my husband, Mark, 47, a laid-back Australian American who's not big on religion. Our kids' twin sons Jaden and Jordan, 17, and daughter Madison, 16, grew up in Melbourne's open-minded vibe before we moved to the U.S. For Mark's job, my family's deep church roots are clashing with our kids' secular upbringing, and a family gathering is about to spark a fire over beliefs we can't reconcile. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, where church was life Sunday services, Bible study, gospel choirs. My parents, siblings, and extended family built their world around faith, seeing it as strength against a tough world. I loved the community, but drifted from strict belief in college, drawn to broader ideas. Meeting Mark, a marketing exec with a surfer's ease, sealed my shift. We married 20 years ago, raising our kids in Melbourne, where religion was a choice, not a rule. Jaden and Jordan, athletic and curious, lean into science. Madison, our artist, questions everything. At 45, I'm a social worker, balancing my roots with the open life we've built. Moving to Atlanta 3 years ago brought us closer to my family, but also their expectations. Mom and Dad, now in their 70s, started gentle nudges about church. When are the kids getting baptized? Mom would ask, half smiling. My sister Tanya pushed harder, saying, they need Jesus in this world. Mark, raised loosely Anglican, shrugged it off, joking, they're good kids, God's not sweating it. I deflected, wanting peace. But the comments grew sharper. At family dinners, cousins would quiz the twins on Bible verses, frowning when they fumbled. Madison got it worse. Their bold questions about faith were called disrespectful by my brother Leon. I felt caught, loving my family, but protective of my kids' freedom. The tension simmered until Grandma's 80th birthday, a big reunion at her rural Mississippi home, 2 hours from Atlanta. The whole clan, 50 cousins, aunts, uncles, my parents gathered for a weekend of barbecue, music, and memories. Mark and the kids were excited, Jaden and Jordan cracking jokes in the car, Madison sketching the countryside. I hoped the celebration would focus on Grandma, not faith, but a knot in my gut warned otherwise. At 45, I knew my family's love came with strings, and our secular life was a quiet rebellion they hadn't fully faced. The first day was warm, filled with hugs and fried catfish. Grandma, sharp as ever, held court, laughing with Madison about her art. The kids blended in, playing cards with cousins, Mark charming aunts with his Aussie accent. I relaxed, thinking we dodged the usual church talk. But at dinner, as plates piled high, Aunt Clara, a deaconess with a commanding voice, stood up. Let's give thanks, she said, leading a long prayer. Heads bowed, but I caught Jordan's raised eyebrow, Madison's fidgeting. Then Clara dropped the hammer. Tomorrow, we'll honor Mama's birthday with a special service at the church. Everyone's expected. Let's bring these kids to the Lord. The air shifted. My family nodded, murmuring amen, but Mark's jaw tightened. Jaden whispered to Jordan, do we have to go? Madison looked at me, eyes wide, silently pleading. I forced a smile, heart racing. Clara's everyone wasn't a request, it was a mandate, her gaze lingering on my kids, the only ones unbaptized in the room. Tanya chimed in, it'll be good for them, Lisa, they need roots. Leon added, can't keep running from God. At 45, I felt the weight of their judgment not just on my parenting, but on the life we'd chosen, the freedom we'd given our kids to think for themselves. Mark squeezed my hand under the table, his look saying, we're not doing this, The kids, raised to question, weren't about to sit through a service they didn't believe in, especially not one framed as their salvation. But defying Clara, Tanya, and the family meant more than skipping church. It meant challenging their core, risking the love we'd come to celebrate. Grandma's birthday, meant to unite us, was now a stage for a deeper divide, my family's faith pressing against our boundaries. At 45, I stood at a crossroads, my kids' comfort clashing with my family's expectations. The reunion, glowing with love hours ago, now felt like a test. Could we honor Grandma without bending to a faith we didn't share? At 16 and 17, my kids were watching, their trust in me tied to how I'd navigate this moment. Listener, Lisa's family reunion is teetering as faith threatens to overshadow love. Can she protect her kids' freedom without fracturing ties? Stay with Metha's stories about to test the strength of family when beliefs collide. Lisa's family reunion in Mississippi, meant to celebrate her grandmother's 80th birthday, was unraveling. At 45, a black social worker in Atlanta, Lisa faced pressure from her devout Christian relatives to push her secular-raised children, twins Jaden and Jordan, 17, and Madison, 16, toward church. Her husband, Mark, 47, an Australian-American, shared her belief in their kids' freedom to choose. When Aunt Clara demanded everyone attend a church service, the tension boiled over, and a bold stand by one of Lisa's sons would ignite a family firestorm, leaving Lisa caught between love for her kin and loyalty to her children. The dinner table, once warm with laughter, turned hostile after Clara's call for a church service to save Lisa's kids. Madison, 16, spoke first, her voice steady. "I'm not going. I don't believe in that." Jaden and Jordan stayed silent, their discomfort clear. Jordan's fidgeting, Jaden's clenched jaw. Mark, calm but firm, backed her up. "Our kids shouldn't be forced into beliefs. That's not how we raise them." His words, meant to diffuse, lit a fuse. Tanya, Lisa's sister, snapped, "You're letting them disrespect our faith." Leon, her brother, added, "This is Mama's day, to make it about your atheist nonsense." Cousins murmured, eyes darting. The room a powder keg. Lisa's heart raced, but she stood firm. At 45, she still held a quiet faith, rooted in her Mississippi upbringing, but believed it must come from the heart, not coercion. "I hear you," she said, voice even, "but my kids have a right to choose. If you keep pushing, we're leaving." Her words hung heavy, a line drawn to protect Jaden, Jordan, and Madison. Mark nodded, his hand on hers, but the family doubled down. Clara scoffed, "You're failing them, Lisa. They need God." A cousin chimed in, "You're too soft, letting them run wild." The accusation stung, framing Lisa's parenting as betrayal, her kids' freedom as rebellion. The breaking point came when Grandma, tearful, grabbed Lisa's arm. "Please, save your babies," she begged. "Let's baptize them tomorrow. Don't let them be lost." Her plea, raw with love, cut deep. Grandma was Lisa's rock, her wisdom a guide. But Lisa, voice soft, refused. "Mama, don't act like this. We love you, but we're not doing that." Her gentle rebuff sparked fury. Uncle Raymond, a stern deacon, erupted, standing to tower over her. "You're ungrateful, Lisa, disrespecting Mama, disrespecting God, raising heathens." His voice boomed, spit flying, as relatives gasped, some nodding. Madison shrank back, Jordan's fists clenched, and Mark tensed, ready to step in. Before Lisa could respond, Jaden, 17, shot to his feet, eyes blazing. "Shut the hell up and don't talk to my mom like that." The room froze, his words a thunderclap. Jordan stared, wide-eyed. Madison gripped her chair. Raymond's face reddened, stunned, as Clara gasped, "How dare you?" Tanya shouted, "That's your elder?" Grandma sobbed harder, and Lisa, caught off guard, felt pride and panic collide. Jaden's defense was fierce, but his outburst had poured fuel on the fire. Mark whispered, "Let's go," and Lisa nodded, gathering the kids. "We're done," she said, voice trembling. leading her family out as relatives muttered, disgraceful, and no respect. They drove back to Atlanta in silence, the kids in the back seat, Madison sketching furiously, the twins staring out windows. Lisa's phone lit up with notifications, missed calls from her mom, Tanya, cousins, texts flooding in. Your son's out of control. Teach him respect. They need church, not excuses. Her mom's voicemail was the sharpest. Lisa, Jaden's behavior comes from no faith. Fix this, or don't come back. At 45, Lisa felt the weight of exile, her family's love conditional on her kids bending to their beliefs. Jaden, usually bold, looked small, muttering, I just couldn't let him yell at you. Mom, Lisa squeezed his hand. I know, baby, but worrying nodded his stand. Her stand cost them family forever. The reunion, meant to honor Grandma, had exposed a chasm. Lisa's faith, personal and unforced, clashed with her family's rigid dogma. She protected her kids' autonomy, but at 45, she faced their judgment, not just as a mother, but as a daughter, sister, niece. Mark held her that night, promising, we're enough, Lisa, you did right. But the calls, the texts, echoed Raymond's tirade, blaming her for raising godless kids. Jaden's outburst proof of her failure. At 16 and 17, her children had faced a room of elders and held their ground. But the cost was real, a family now fractured, a birthday tainted by division. Listener, Lisa and Jaden's stand against forced faith has left them vilified by kin. Was Jaden's outburst heroic or reckless? Should Lisa have stayed to smooth things over? Stay with Metha's stories about the fallout of defending freedom when family demands conformity. Lisa's family reunion in Mississippi, meant to celebrate her grandmother's 80th birthday, erupted when her relatives demanded her secular-raised children Jaden, Jordan, 17, and Madison, 16, attend a church service. At 45, a black social worker in Atlanta, Lisa, supported by her husband Mark, 47, defended their kids' freedom. But Jaden's fiery outburst, shut the hell up against Uncle Raymond's tirade, escalated the conflict. The family left, vilified by kin for Jaden's disrespect and their godless parenting. Now, Lisa faces the fallout, torn between pride in her son's loyalty and the pain of family rejection, seeking a path to love amid division. Back in Atlanta, Lisa's home felt both refuge and battleground, the sting of her family's text calling Jaden out of control, her parenting a failure lingering like smoke. At 45, she wrestled with her emotions. Jaden's words were wrong, too harsh for an elder, yet deep down, a spark of pride flickered. Her 17-year-old son, usually all bravado and soccer, had stood tall against a room of adults shaming his mom for protecting his freedom. His curse was impulsive, but his heart was fierce, a shield for her when she felt cornered. Still, the cost weighed heavy, her family's love, grandma's tears, a reunion now a wound. That night, Lisa and Mark sat Jaden down in their living room, Jordan and Madison listening nearby. Mark, calm but firm, started. Jaden, standing up for Mom, was brave, but shut the hell up to an elder. That's not how we handle things. Lisa added, I'm proud you had my back, but words matter. You can defend me with respect. Jaden's shoulders slumped, his usual swagger gone. I'm sorry. Mom, Dad, I just saw him yelling, and I snapped. No one gets to talk to you like that. His eyes held fire, unapologetic for his intent, only his delivery. Lisa hugged him. I know, baby. We'll work on it together. At 45, she saw his growth, a boy becoming a man, learning to channel loyalty without rage. The family's backlash intensified, and none cut deeper than Lisa's mother. A voicemail arrived, her voice trembling. Lisa, you've let your kids be led by the devil. You've betrayed us, raising them without God. The words seared at her mom. Her anger through Mississippi summers now saw her as a traitor. Tanya texted, Jaden needs discipline, not coddling, while cousins spread gossip about Lisa's lost family. The church community, once her home, turned cold. A deacon calling to pray for her soul, At 45, Lisa felt the exile, her rechurch, kin rejecting her for choosing her kids' autonomy over dogma. Lisa's faith, personal and unforced, clashed with her family's rigid expectations. She still prayed, quietly, finding God in love, not sermons, but their judgment framed her as faithless. The pain of her mother's words echoed her childhood, where obedience trumped questions. At 45, she saw the cycle. Her family demanded conformity, not just from her, but her kids, and Jaden's stand had shattered their illusion of control. She doubted herself. Should she have stayed, smoothed things over, taught Jaden restraint before the clash? But his courage, her refusal to force church, felt right, a stand for the family she'd built with Mark. Lisa chose silence, stepping back from the family's calls and texts. At 45, she realized love, loyalty, and faith thrived on mutual respect, not ultimatums. She drafted a message, sent to her mom, siblings, and key relatives. I love God. I love my children. If my faith is judged by forcing them to church, I'm okay being misunderstood. Short, firm, it was her truth, not a plea for forgiveness. Mark read it, nodding. That's you. Liza strong and clear. The kids, overhearing, hugged her, Madison whispering, "Thanks for letting us be us." No replies came. The silence was heavy, a sign the rift might last. Lisa grieved Grandma's birthday, her mom's voice, the church's warmth, but stood firm. At 45, she wasn't alone. Mark's steady love, her kids' trust, anchored her. Jaden's outburst, though flawed, showed a family united, not divided, by choice. She didn't know if her relatives would soften, if Grandma's tears would fade, but she believed love, not judgment, was the path. Her faith, her kids' freedom, were hers to protect, even if it meant walking away. The story ends open, no neat bow. Lisa's family remains estranged, but her heart is steady. At 45, she's learned that true family honors your truth, and courage means standing tall, even in pain. She looks at Jaden, Jordan, Madison, and Mark, knowing they're her home, faith or no faith. Listener, Lisa's choice cost her kin, but saved her family's core. Was Jaden's stand reckless, or a spark of love? Should Lisa have fought longer for peace? Share Bella Wim here. If you're facing judgment for your choices, remember, love builds on respect, and your truth is worth the fight.